Melody, this is Commissioner Hanson. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, welcome everybody to our Planning Commission meeting this evening, July 20th, 2022. I'm Commissioner Hanson. I'm the current chair of the Planning Commission. We'll start this evening's agenda with a prayer by Commissioner Shield, and we'll follow that with a Pledge of Allegiance that is led by Commissioner Bullock.
Our Father in heaven, we're thankful to be gathered this night in our City Planning Commission meeting, and we're thankful for the opportunity we have to be together as commissioners and as members of the community. We're thankful for the opportunity to serve and pray that that'll help us to be professional this night and have good discussions that will be beneficial for the community and for all involved. We ask you that we can be helpful to staff, and we're thankful for their help and their assistance in all that we do. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. At this time, I'll look for an approval of the minutes for June 15th from our previous meeting. You've all had a chance to receive those and look those over. If there's any changes, please make a note now. Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to approve those.
This is Commissioner Bullock. I make a motion we approve the minutes from the June 15th meeting.
This Shield, I'll second.
I've got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the minutes are approved from our previous meeting, June 15th. Item number 3 on the agenda, a declaration of abstention or conflicts with any agenda items from the commissioners this evening. I do not have any myself. Anybody?
Nope.
No? Awesome. Oh yeah, I gotta approve the agenda, don't I? It's my first time. I'll look to approve the agenda this evening as set forth here. If there's any changes that you'd like to make, please bring that up at this time. Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda for this evening.
This Shield, I would make a motion that we approve the agenda for this evening.
This is Commissioner Tupou. I second that.
All right, I've got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Approve the agenda, approve of the minutes. No abstentions or conflicts. We'll move to item number 4A. It's a preliminary plat. This is a public hearing for consideration and recommendation to the City Council for the Siena Auto Mall. Preliminary plat, 14 lots, 43 plus acres, located approximately Merritt Way and Commerce Boulevard. The applicant is Ted Wheeler, and I'll turn the time over to staff for their report.
Thank you, Commissioners. As previously stated, this particular subdivision is proposing 14 lots on an area covering approximately 40.528 acres. The zoning designation at this location is C2, Commercial, and Siena Hills Planned Community Development. The surrounding zoning is open space to the north, which is the I-15 corridor, Planned Community Development, and C2 to the east, with R3 high-density multifamily to the south, and C2 to the west, which is the Southern Utah RV Resort. The proposed subdivision conforms to the approved zoning, meets the regulations and subdivision requirements as it relates to this location. Staff has reviewed the request and recommends approval with conditions of the preliminary plat as outlined. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the preliminary plat for the Siena Hills Auto Mall subdivision onto the City Council based on the following findings and subject to the following conditions. I do want to just point out conditions 13 through 15, which are in addition to our standard 12. Condition 13 states a solid 6-foot block wall is required to be built and maintained at the southern part of this subdivision, specifically lots 7 through 12, which will separate residential from this commercial. Condition 14 identifies the existing Merritt Way roadway will be relocated, and that will need to be vacated prior to or in conjunction with the final plat. And then condition 15, lots 1, 2, parts of 3, and lots 13 and 14 are in the Siena Hills PCD subdivision, and these lots will be required to abide by the Siena Hills PCD signage plan. And I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thanks, Eldon. Commissioners, I'll open the floor.
Eldon, this is Commissioner Bullock. On Merritt Way, that median that runs all the way through there, correct? So when we come out of lots, any of those along the north side right there, they're going to have to go down all the way, make a U-turn, and then come back to get out of there. Is that correct?
With the median, yeah. It circles around. Merritt Way makes a loop around Southern Utah RVs, so I wouldn't imagine we'll be making a U-turn there, but there is a divider in the roadway.
But that's going to push more traffic down that way.
This isn't possible.
Correct?
Right in, right out.
I feel like there should be a break in between them so that they can actually make a left-hand turn coming out of there. Or they're not huge roads.
I think if the developer's fine with that, I wouldn't. I mean, it just controls the traffic. It's just right in, right out for every lot, basically. So I don't know what problem that is, other than the tenant, you know.
That was my only concern, is that it's basically blocking off all of that. It's going to be hard to come in and make left-hand turns.
Logistically, you're going to send everybody down to the RV park.
Correct. So you're dumping all that traffic down on them.
Is the applicant here by chance? Okay. Drew, is that something that they talked about? Yeah, or John, do you have an opinion?
Yeah, in looking at that median, it is a concern that we would be moving, all of our truck traffic that would be delivering cars, stuff like that, all the way back around and then back onto Bluffview Drive. And looking at that, what we would be thinking during construction drawings is probably doing a median break or two along there, just so that we can try it, especially for cars, trucks, the car carriers. We're never going to be able to line up enough median breaks through there for every single lot that's in there and stuff. But if we can get a couple in, we can try and eliminate a lot of the traffic having to go all the way around.
Because it shows it being 2 lanes, correct? I mean,
If you,
up
their
the top
cross
right
section
there.
shows a lane of traffic and a parking lane on both sides.
And a parking lane.
Yeah, they call it out as a parking lane. 10-foot wide street parking with a 12-foot.
So will the trucks be able to offload on that road? with the car carriers? Are they going to be able to?
Wouldn't be our preference.
Right. But the 10-foot's going to make
Yeah,
it
they could,
extremely hard.
there would be enough room for a truck, because you got 10 foot plus the pan on the curb and gutter, so they could pull there and offload from the parking lane.
Okay. Or they can pull into the dealership and unload.
That would be the better option, yeah.
That and that makes the most sense. I just worry about the car traffic that you're going to send down to the RV park. That's my only thing. That's my concern with the whole project. Other than that, I like it.
What about the roundabout? This is Commissioner Tupou. Is the roundabout large enough for the commercial truck carriers to get around?
We don't have the full dimensions on that. We'll get that with the construction drawings, but yeah, that is definitely one of the items that we'll be looking at, because semis and roundabouts don't always go together very well, so.
Yeah, I think it looks too small for getting some of that traffic in there. Either the roads need to be bigger, or something that roundabout probably needs to be bigger.
Yeah, and we'll be looking at the design of the roundabout. A lot of roundabouts, that outer edge is a thickened concrete edge, and so that you can get wheels up on it and stuff without destroying it. But I don't know if that's what their design intent is at this point in time.
On the engineer on this said that they changed the curve. The C31 has been corrected, and the radius was too tight on the
Yeah,
little sheet that we had. Is that what they're talking about?
Let's see if I can find where.
Sorry.
There's so many curves on there that it's kind of fun to keep track of them. C31 is what we had. So that's clear out on the far
Oh, okay.
end out there and stuff, so that we're just keeping track of our curve data that we have for our roads. So it was a bit tight over there, trying to make that curve to line back up with the existing Merritt Way over there. So we just had them expand that radius.
I got a couple other questions. So on the storm drain here, I mean, you got three outlets for your storm drain. Well, not you, but they do. Anyway, you got the one there on the south, lots 10, 11, 12 that are dropping into the existing storm drain system, it looks like. But on the back side of lot 5 and the back side of lot 1, that's taking all the rest of the north side of that, and it's just dumping it right next to the freeway. I mean, is there a plan for where that water is going, or is it just, that's the plan, it just dumps into the freeway? Or is there a culvert there or something it goes into? So it's coming from the freeway into the community?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
there's-
my question.
Yeah, there's water that comes in underneath the freeway.
So it's just a culvert under the freeway that's coming through the community and coming through?
Right.
Okay,
It's just a pass through from
gotcha.
the other side.
Okay.
But then each individual lot will be doing their own stormwater to meet the requirements and stuff because of the large commercial lots.
So they'll have their own LID per lot or whatever?
Right.
Okay. One other question so you've got, you've got in Commerce Boulevard, you've got an existing, it looks like, secondary, I'm assuming that's what they've got labeled here, secondary water, in case we ever get to that where we're using secondary water for irrigation and so forth, but they don't show any secondary water in this community. Are we doing that with commercial? Or,
Yeah, they'll actually put that in on their construction
okay,
drawings.
it's like they got everything else except that, so.
Yeah. So they'll be required to put the secondary irrigation in just for all the landscaping and everything else that they'll be putting in, so.
Okay.
There'll be several utilities that'll get tweaked and relocated as we go through the construction drawings, because we don't want all the manholes, valves and stuff in the middle of that roundabout, stuff like that, so.
Is the power from this, is it coming from overhead or underhead? Or underground? Looks like they got both. They got overhead lines and.
Yeah, everything that will go in will be underground.
But I mean, where is it tying in from? Is it tying in from the underground by Commerce Boulevard, or is it
Yeah, everything should
the
be.
overhead over by lots
It's
7
it'll be underground coming from.
from the underground?
In several directions from Merritt down on Commerce.
Okay.
That way we have a looped feed through.
So commissioners, I agree. This is Commissioner Hanson. I agree with you, Commissioner Bullock. We got to look at something for people to turn around and come the other way, so we're not sending everybody down to the RV park. And Drew, maybe you know this, or John, maybe you know this. If we were to zoom out on Merritt Way, does that become a frontage road that goes in front of the RV park and then connect in somewhere else? What does it look like on the left-hand side of that picture?
Yeah, it goes along the front of the RV park and loops back around along the west edge, south edge of
Yeah,
that, and then
down
it comes
below,
back down
right?
around Bluffview,
Yeah,
So part of
a giant loop.
this project is, it's not part of this project. A transaction that has occurred that underlies this is a land exchange where the city exchanged a strip along Interstate 15 parallel to their land,
yeah.
and they in turn gave the city land down where that road ends. The main purpose for the city in that exchange was to obtain right-of-way or ownership for the future frontage road.
Oh, now you've done it, Drew.
I think there's got to be something worked out where cars can get from 5 to 9 without leaving, or from 4 to 10, or 3 to 11, or something in that stretch right there. Whether there's no median or something, where we're not sending everybody down that way. Because if you went all the way down Merritt Way and had to go down and turn around and come back, you're essentially leaving the auto mall, going around. Isn't there a neighborhood down there too of some condos?
Yeah, as you come around the backside of the,
Yeah.
it's all residential.
I'd rather try to keep the cars in here than send them out on their way and come back if they wanted to do that.
Yeah.
My opinion in this. I don't have the answer. I just think there should be one that the applicant and you guys can come up with. Any other questions, commissioners, or comments for this particular item? At this time, what I'll do is this is a public hearing. I'll open this to the public at this time. If anybody here in the chamber would like to speak to this item, please come forward and state your name for the record. Melody's in the other room taking notes, and we'd like to get your name on the record. It does not look like there is anybody that would like to speak on this item. I look for a motion to close the public hearing.
Commissioner Anderson, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
This is Commissioner Bullock. I'll second.
I've got a first and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, public hearing is closed. Any opposed? No. All right, public hearing is closed. I'll open the floor back up for comments from the commissioners or questions. For me, my only comment is the same thing I've had. I don't have a problem with this at all. I just think that's something that should be looked at. So I don't know if that's necessary. I don't think that's the reason that I should vote no on this, but I would like to see them rework it somehow. So logistically, we're not sending people out of the area to want to come back into the area on the other side of the road.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
This is Commissioner Anderson. I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plat for Siena Hills Auto Mall located approximately Merritt Way and Commerce Boulevard with the two findings by staff, and the 15 recommendations by staff, with a 16th recommendation, or 16th condition, I should say, that the Public Works reviews the size of the roundabout and the exit traffic patterns. And yeah, just the traffic patterns through Merritt Way, the breaks in the medians, et cetera. And send it to City Council for consideration.
This is Commissioner Bullock. I'll second.
I've got a first by Commissioner Anderson. I'm sorry, I have a motion by Commissioner Anderson. I have a second by Commissioner Bullock. Individual voting, Commissioner Shield,
Aye.
Tupou,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Bullock.
Aye.
I'm Hanson. I'm an aye as well. Motion passes. We'll send that to City Council with our recommendation for approval. Item number 5A. This is also a public hearing for consideration and recommendation to the City Council for a zone change request Z-22-15 from an A20 to a PUDR, Planned Unit Development Design Use Approval, located approximately 4200 South and 545 East. The applicant is Desert Canyons Development and DSG Holdings. I'll turn the time over to staff for the report.
Thank you, Commissioners. The applicant is requesting approval of a zone change of approximately 15.33 acres. The request is from the current agricultural 20 to a proposed planned unit development residential zoning designation. The PUDR request is for the purpose of developing these 15 acres into a single-family detached residential project, and that would be in the form of 112 two-story, two-car garage dwelling units. The density on that with those acreage and the number of units comes out to 7.31 dwelling units per acre. The general plan designation in this area is medium-high density, which is 7 to 12 dwelling units per acre, so they're very much in the low end on that. The surrounding zoning to the proposed project is PUD residential to the north, R18 to the west, R18 and planned unit development residential to the south, and then the remaining part of the parcel left in A20 to the east. The required visitor parking, this changes from what the report you got. I'm updating this so you know, but the required visitor parking for the project would be 32 stalls. That would be one per 3.5 dwelling units. The applicant is actually providing 45 stalls placed throughout the project that you can see on the map there. Staff is supportive of the project at this location, with the building layout and exterior finishes being aesthetically attractive. The amenities are sufficient and will be of value to the project. Therefore, staff would like to recommend that the Planning Commission recommend approval of Z-22-15 for the zone change request from the current agricultural 20-acre minimum zoning designation to the proposed zoning of planned unit development residential. They will be utilizing the single family or the single lot standards, and this would be onto the City Council and based on the findings and subject to the conditions that you see in your report. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. I'll just kind of scroll through the rest of the exhibits here. This is kind of the landscape layout with the trees and the shrubs and things around the project. The detention area, the recreation area. These are the street cross sections. There's, I think, 3 different ones. You're including 4200 South, which is Hayfield Way, I think is the name on it. That's coming from the high school, then takes people over to Washington Fields Road. That's that main road right there, which we've been waiting to get fully built out, and this project will be a big part of that. So there's your exhibits on this. Since it is single family detached homes, they're not required to have any elevations, but they will be a 2-story. Each one of them will, they'll probably vary a little bit in their aesthetics, but they're all like a 2-story detached, with each one having a 2-car garage. And I've made it a minimum that their driveways will be 19 feet wide minimum with 20 foot in depth. So what that does is give you 2 parking stalls in front of the 2-car garage. So with the 45 provided visitor parking and all the driveways and the 2-car garages, the project should hopefully be sufficiently meeting any parking issues. So, but again, I'll be glad to answer any questions you have on this proposed zone change.
Thanks, Drew. Commissioners, I'll open the floor for any initial questions that you have for staff.
Is Hayfield Drive finished yet on the other side? It is half, correct?
It's half done.
It's
yeah.
already half done, so
On
this
the
will
north
finish
side.
it. Okay.
Yeah, that northwest side is.
That's what I
is
thought.
done.
I was just wanting to make sure.
Yeah, this will bring the other half of that. And as you get down to the, where it meets over here, I'll try to get my cursor there. That road, it's built out to here, where you can see my little cursor bouncing. It's a full road built out there, and then it goes to a half a road as you hit this particular project. And then,
So the white is done on the other side of that gray road, basically, correct?
yeah.
This is Commissioner Hanson. Drew, I'll try to make sense of this question. At the top of the screen, where it says Treasure Valley Road, I think it's right under the link, the address bar up there. Yeah, see where it says Treasure Valley Road there?
Right.
On that particular development, there was the sidewalk on the south side of that road of Treasure Valley. There's a sidewalk, there's a fence, then there was some kind of an easement that was put in, and then there's the back fence to all of the units. I wanted to ask if this particular development is going to have something similar between the fence, the block wall that goes around the property, and the individual owner's backyard fence. That was something I didn't expect to see when we approved the other subdivision, and I just want to make sure that the same thing doesn't happen here, or if there's a reason, I'd like to understand what that is.
Well, the north part of that was because of all that changed when we went through and we wanted them to, if you remember, they used to front them originally.
Yeah.
And when they came back and flipped them, it kind of got overlooked. There should have been a landscape strip back there on that development. And ended up not being, they just built the fence right there, but then I had to go back and see if I had any leverage, and unfortunately that got overlooked because we went and had them flip the units from front to back and back to front. This definitely has, you can see the gap in between here. So there will be a landscape strip there with those trees planted there, and then the dark line will be the block wall.
So it'll be
We'll
on
make sure that'll be a landscape strip like the one on the other side of the street is built that way. So that'll really make that road feel a lot
Right.
more open.
So that's why I want to make sure that that landscape strip is on the correct side of the block wall, if you will.
Correct.
And is there a way that we can put a condition that the block walls match in color to the other side of the road? So when you go down Treasure Valley and you look at the subdivision I just mentioned up here, Crimson Park, they have a gray wall. On the right side, Freedom Village has a tan wall, one of the two. So I was driving down, I thought, if we're going to keep building these block walls, maybe we should try to match them at least so they look consistent, because they just finished the landscape strip on Hayfield Drive on that portion that Commissioner Bullock was asking about. It looks awesome. It looks really good. They just finished it this week. I would love to see a matching block wall in color. That's all.
Well, I would hope that the developer would be okay with that, but I feel that very appropriate to ask for that. Is a representative here? You probably don't have any issue with that, I hope.
Ken Miller with the DSG Engineering. I'm here for Ryan tonight, who's out of town. And we don't have a problem. We can match it as closely as possible.
Yeah.
But I would like to keep that condition on that road if we could. In other words, if they want to go with something different on the interior walls.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably end up doing the whole thing the same, but sometimes it comes down to what you can get too. So
that's totally true. And I wouldn't want to shut the project or slow the project because it's not available. It just aesthetically would look 10 times better than what we see north of this. And I would like to not repeat it is all the point. So
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Commissioner Hanson, this is Commissioner Anderson, to kind of speak to what he said. I'll play devil's advocate to that. Just like right now, for example, there are lots of colors of block that you can't get for months and months on end. They're just not in supply. So I would hate to put a condition that they can't meet. That's my only thing. I would say if it's possible that they can make it, match or blend in, I would do it. But I wouldn't want to hold them to something that they can't control.
We'll call it kind of gentleman's agreement. If you can find it that looks like it, let's go for it. If I see it's not, I'll just assume it wasn't there and we'll ask later. All right. Any other questions, commissioners, before we open this up for a public hearing? Okay, I'll open this up to the public hearing at this time. If there's anybody here in the chamber that would like to speak to this item, please come forward. I'll look for a motion, Commissioners, to close the public hearing.
This is Commissioner Bullock. I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
This is Commissioner Tupou. I second that.
We got a first and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is closed. Commissioners, I'll open the floor again for any last comments or questions for the developer or staff. Or if there are none, I will look for a motion.
Do you know the proximity of the homes that'll go on these, square footage wise?
Approximately 2,000 to 2,500.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they're two-story.
Nice.
So yeah, and this is a product we've done on several other projects, and they've turned out really, really nice. So
Yeah, I was just curious. That was my own curiosity.
Yeah, I'm just glad it's not another just town home, like the one to the north of it, just six plexes. And
I was hoping it was, I was glad that they're single family homes instead of multifamily homes.
it should be a great product for them, so, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Commissioners, I'll look for a motion.
This Shield, I'd make a motion that we recommend and approve the approval of Z-22-15 for the zone change request from the current agricultural 20-acre minimum A20 zoning designation to the proposed zoning of planned unit development, PUDR, utilizing the single lot standards onto the City Council, based on the 2 findings and 11 conditions.
This is Commissioner Bullock. I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Shield. I've got a second by Commissioner Bullock. Individual voting, Commissioner Shield,
Aye.
Tupou,
Aye.
Bullock,
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
I'm Hanson. I'm an aye as well. Item 5A passes. We'll send that to City Council with our recommendation for approval. Item number 5B, this is a public hearing as well for consideration and recommendation to the City Council for a zone change request Z-22-17 from RA1 to R110, located approximately Crimson Cliffs Way and Medallion Drive. The applicant is Ryan Henderson. I'll turn the time over to staff for their report.
Thank you. Applicant is requesting approval to change the zoning of approximately 19.33 acres. The requested change is as stated from the residential agricultural 1 acre minimum zoning designation to a proposed single-family residential 10,000 square foot minimum, or the R110 zoning district. The R110 request is for the purpose of developing this parcel into a residential subdivision at a future date. This particular location has a general planned use designation of low-density residential. The low-density residential allows for the R110 or the R112 or greater zoning districts. The surrounding zoning to the parcel is RA1 to the north and west, with R18 and R110 to the east, and R110 to the south. Staff has no concerns with the proposed zone changes outlined. The applicant is in harmony with surrounding land uses and even more so in the general plans designation. Staff therefore would like to recommend that the Planning Commission recommend approval of Z-22-17 for the zone change request from the RA1 to the R110 zoning district, and that would be on to the City Council and based on the findings in your report. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. This is directly right next to the junior high. I still call them junior high. What do they call them now? Middle schools, I guess. So, but that's right off of, again, this is just down the street from the zone change we just did to the west, a couple 100 feet. So,
Thanks, Drew. Commissioners, any questions? This is Commissioner Hanson. The only question I have, Drew, around this property, and the answer is probably no, but I wanted to ask, around this property, as we build all of this up, is there any plans for a street light that needs to go in there? Or I guess it would be the northwest corner. Is there any reason for that?
Traffic signal or street lights? I want to clarify that because every subdivision will have street lights, just to light up.
Traffic signal.
Traffic signal, I doubt you're going to get a traffic signal right there. It's not planned, but if warrants needed it, in other words, if it got so busy but that would be at a future date. I don't think this is an area designated. I would think if there would be one, it would be at the entrance in between the high school and the middle school off of 4200 South, if there was the one to go in, but I doubt that you'd get one on either one of these corners.
All right. Commissioners, any other initial questions or comments? I'll open this up for a public hearing at this time on item number 5B. If there's anybody who'd like to speak to this item, please come forward. State your name. Commissioners, I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
This Commissioner,
Go ahead.
this Commissioner Tupou, I make a motion to close.
Shield, I second.
I've got a first and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the public hearing is closed. I'll open this back up for any other questions or comments and a possible motion if we don't have any.
This is Commissioner Bullock. I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of Z 22-17 for the zone change request from residential agriculture 1 acre minimum to the proposed single family residential R110 and pass it on to the city council based on the two findings.
Commissioner Tupou, I second that.
I've got a motion by Commissioner Bullock. I have a second by Commissioner Tupou. Individual voting, Commissioner Shield.
Aye.
Tupou.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Bullock.
Aye.
I am Hanson. I'm an aye as well. Item number 5B passes, and we will send that to City Council with our recommendation for approval. We'll move to item number 6A. This is a general plan amendment. It's also a public hearing and a recommendation from us to City Council for a general plan amendment G-22-04 from medium density to medium high density located approximately southeast corner of 400 North and Main Street. The applicant is Vince Terry and Chris Patel, and I'll turn the time over to staff for their report.
Thank you, Commissioners. The applicant's seeking to amend the general plan use map at this particular location. This is, of course, as stated, at the southeast corner of Main Street and 400 North. The requested area covers approximately 0.99 acres, just shy of 1 full acre. The current land use designation is medium density residential. The applicant is seeking approval to have the land use designation changed to medium high density for the possibility to develop the area into a future multifamily residential project. The medium high density residential carries a density ratio of 7 to 12 dwelling units per acre. The surrounding general planned use designations are medium high density residential to the north and medium density residential to the east, west, and south. Staff has reviewed the requested change and wishes to be neutral on the proposed change for the request from medium density residential to medium high density residential designation, pointing out that the request is not too far out of line, could be justified with the medium high density residential designation directly north across the street, noting though that all those dwellings are used as single family residences currently. They are owned individually, each one of them on those parcels. Staff must also point out that the new freeway interchange will be located right in this area, just north of this, up Main Street, approximately 400 feet to the north. And that'll all be taking place within the next year, year and a half, that will be worked on heavily and probably close to being finished by the end of 23 or early 24. So staff again would just state that I'm neutral on the request, leaving the Planning Commission either recommend approval or denial for G-22-04 to amend the general plan use map at this current location from, again, medium density to a proposed medium high density residential designation as outlined above and shown in your exhibits. So I'll be glad to answer any questions that I can for you on this proposal.
Thanks, Drew. Commissioners, I'll open the floor for comments or questions. Drew, one that I have, if you wouldn't mind showing an overhead of this, that it would include the freeway. And
My map is not working real well tonight, so we'll try again. I don't know why it's,
that's fine. What my question was going to be in,
so that's not gonna, let's see if I can.
maybe I could ask my question this way without even seeing it, because I was out there today looking at it, and as somebody that's not fully up to speed on the potential renderings or what that interchange might look like, I thought I had heard somewhere that the possibility of removing one or more of the residences was going to happen. Is that true? Is that not true?
How many, 4 or 5? There are 4 or 5 that will be going.
Okay.
They know who they are already, I think.
That's what I was hoping to see, is what that looks like from an aerial view from the houses that I saw today, and then being able to say, okay, that one's going to be gone, that one's going to be gone, and how close it puts this to the interchange or the off ramp or on ramp, I guess it would be.
You know, I'm trying to find. This one won't be as interactive as I want, but I think I can still, oh my gosh, that's so sensitive. Just give it time to catch up. So the parcel in question right here is where, if you can see my arrow kind of circling around. So hopefully this is what you wanted to see.
Yes, those 3 on Main Street on the east side, will they remain?
Well, there's actually on this side.
On the east side, yes.
I think those ones remain, right, John? It's the ones on the west side that are more than likely the ones that will be those around the corner and everything. I think it's these from, right now would be the ones that will probably be bought.
So if I was coming down Main Street and I was going to get on the freeway, will it be a left turn onto the freeway? Or is it too early to know what that actually is going to look like?
It's a little too early, or do you know that yet, John? Is it going to be? Just say yes or no. You don't have to, is it too early?
It's a wee bit early. They're finalizing the design right now.
Okay.
Because there's still a few tweaks that may happen to it, and that's why we're hesitant to say, and that's why I'm leaving, when it gets down to it, this is why I'm having a neutral thing. I wanted to wait till we do anything here until after this gets done, but that doesn't mean I can't make them stop and not apply. But that's one of my hesitations of just waiting till we know what the project is.
Okay. Hold your comment,
encompassing,
ma'am. I definitely want to hear what you have to say in 1 second, because it sounds like it's going to be good, right? In a minute, I do want to see it. Well, that's what the supposed to be might change. That's kind of what I was interested in understanding. Those 3 houses on the east side, they're not slated to be taken down then. There's no.
As of right now,
Okay.
no.
All right.
Everything will be west, the widening and getting Main Street more and a thing, keeping it away. And what drove that was a lot of the, because we have a substation right on the other side, we wanted to make sure we didn't have to, that would just be extremely expensive to have to move into that. So they, all stuff they needed to do kind of went west.
We don't want to mislead the commission, and I'm not saying anybody has, but the 3 on the west have yet to be fully decided. There's an access problem that they're trying to resolve. On the east is what I meant, yes. There's an access problem. The ramps and the ramp skirting in most of the planning eliminates their legal access. There's still supposed to be a road that passes through under the underpass, and so some of that just hasn't been decided to the city's knowledge yet. But we know there's there's a challenge they're working through there. In theory, if no design gives them legal access, those houses are going to have to be acquired as part of the project, because if we don't allow them to access their house, they can't access their house, and it loses its value.
So somebody, Thad, that's been involved with this planning more so than this meeting tonight, no matter how it ends up there, it seems like it shouldn't affect this particular topic that we're talking about this evening for this item on the agenda, correct?
I think the project is affecting everything around there. Are you talking about something in particular?
I don't know. I thought in my mind I had a visualization what it was going to look like, but I knew it wasn't final.
I don't believe the off ramp and the skirting is going to extend into that intersection at 400 North.
See, I thought maybe the first two houses on the right were gone and you just get on the freeway that way. And when you come off the other side, but I don't know.
The intersection, as you see it now, is going to be tilted on an axis a little bit. It's not going to be the same alignment as you see it. And as it tilts, the on-ramps heading north, I think there's more space there for the northerly on-ramps than you see here. But that also affects to the southerly side. And so the ramps, as we understand it, do not affect the intersection of 400 North, but absolutely this area, that general area as we know it's all going to have some impact.
Okay. That was my only question I had. Commissioners, any initial questions for staff or comments? I'll open this up to a public hearing. It's what it is. So if anybody in the chamber would like to speak to this item or has a comment, please come forward at this time. And remember to state your name for the record so we can note that. Thank you.
I am Beth Ann McDonald, and I am the owner of two of the three houses on the east. The only thing that I am concerned about is when I have approached the city about doing anything else to that property, they have told me that I cannot add a flag lot or anything like that because they don't want any more traffic on those roads. So now we're in a meeting that you're going to put 12 houses up there. So that is my big concern. 7 to 12 houses will go into that area, and the traffic from that would be how much? But yet I'm being told by the city I can't put another rental in there because that'd add one more people on those streets. So I am concerned. I do have the actual map that we were given by UDOT as what they plan on doing. And I'm concerned about putting that much traffic. Is it going to be dumped out on Main Street? Is it going to be dumped out on 400? And how much more traffic you're talking right there as they're going to be getting on the freeway?
Can I see that map? How can I look at that just to see what it is, even though it's not final?
This one, here's the actual thing. This is the three houses right here. I own these two, and then this is the bigger picture of the freeway. We're going to take a copy and everything. We met with the man. All three owners of these, two of us, I own two, and gentleman next to me owns the other one. And we met with them. This is what we were given as a proposal. The other thing is just FYI, I don't know where you guys get your information, but all of these houses are already vacant and been bought out. No one is living on that other side. Those houses are all vacant. They have already been bought and the people are gone. And they were gone as of May 18th. You're welcome to take a picture or whatever.
No squatters.
Awesome. Thank you.
No squatters there.
I'll be honest, I'm worried about squatters because if you're not supposed to start labor until January,
So
if I was a squatter, I think
ma'am,
it'd be a very good idea.
we need you at the microphone for everything else.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you, just need to get you back there. UDOT owns the houses, the city doesn't own. UDOT's the project, it's a UDOT project. They've taken care of all that. They've signed them. They've informed the city that they've got some form of a property manager watching it over. our police department is within 3 blocks of that. We're pretty confident that we don't have a squatter problem there.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Appreciate
and
it.
but I do want those back.
I will
can
give it back
copy
to you.
them, but
I'm going
I
to
want
stare
them
at it
back.
for a little bit
Thank
and I'll
you.
give it back to you.
My name's Dale Hafen. I live on 20 East, 300 North, Main Street, right in Washington. I do not, in my opinion, want any of these high dollar, low cost, 10 feet high apartment buildings in there. I do not really want to see a whole bunch of condominiums in there. You take what he was talking about, the footage wise, compared to what you're making Chrism Hills or whatever it is put in. I mean, put that many homes on that piece of property, to me, is completely senseless. The traffic, right now, the traffic, the way it comes off there, has to come down to 3rd North, get across to the school or any of that. You've got all that traffic, and if you add all this other traffic to it, plus, my vote is don't change it. Okay?
Thank you, Dale. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other takers tonight? All right, Commissioners, I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
This is Commissioner Tupou. I make a motion to close the public hearing.
This is Bullock. I'll second.
We've got a first and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, public hearing is closed. I'll open the floor, Commissioners, for questions or comments.
Well, this is Shill, and what they're proposing is basically 12 units. They're going to max it out 12 units per acre. You can put that on there. You're not going to have more than, you can do what, 3 4-plexes or 2 6-plexes. You could do that on this property. It's a good use for it. I don't disagree with that. You're not putting 20 houses there. You're going to put a 12-plex there, or 2 6-plexes, or 3 4-plexes. I just think it could be a little early with our knowledge of what's coming in. And if we piecemeal it right now, then we're causing problems down the road for our interchange.
That's exactly my thought, is I'm wondering if we're too early on this. Like, I'm not saying I'm opposed to it. I just wonder if waiting until we know for sure what's happening here is accurate. That's my thought.
This is Commissioner Anderson. I don't think the issue is, at least right now, the issue is not, is townhomes the right use or not here. The problem is that we've got an area that has an interchange coming in that's going to change, the entire nature of this area right here. And it is right next to the interchange there. And the problem is that we shouldn't be piecemealing the general plan on a project by project basis, especially where it's such a, this whole area has got to be looked at general plan. What needs to happen is city council needs to look at the general plan for this area here. You've got a major intersection coming in, and the whole entire thing is general planned wrong right now. They need to look at all that and try to figure out what's the impact on this area and what's the right way to do it. Because otherwise, this is all you're going to get, is you're going to have all sorts of random hodgepodge ideas here or there, and if you do that, then they may or may not cohesively work with each other. So it's way too early for this. The city council needs to review the general plan for this area as a whole.
You guys have anything else to add to that?
This is Commissioner Mitchell. I agree with that because I feel like there's some other surrounding areas in the same.
Yeah, I don't think it's working. I see the lights on, but I definitely don't think it's working.
You guys just want to hear from me tonight.
Melody wants to hear from you.
Anyway, I think there's other areas in that same location. I agree with what Corey's saying. There's a lot of potential, whether it stay the way it is or
Well, this is Shill. I think it could, if they're patient, it may end up being more of a retail or a commercial deal, which will bring a different value to it. But just requires patience. UDOT's going to be slow. So.
This is Commissioner Anderson, and again, regardless of what the end use ends up being, that's not the point here. The point is we shouldn't be hodgepodge patchworking the area when it obviously has a major impact. City council needs to bite this bullet and look at this and come up with a solution for the area. That way, people that buy property can know what they're looking at, and the residents there also know what's going to happen. So.
Jason, you might want to invite the applicant out.
Is the applicant here tonight? Yeah. Just gonna ask you, gentlemen, if you wouldn't mind stating your name for the record, and then if you have a comment or two before we make a motion.
Carl Rasmussen, Pro Value Engineering, there's the owner.
Vince Terry, and I also represent Dallas Holt, and we are trying to develop this little piece of property into something, and we are planning, our plan, with the help of Mr. Rasmussen, is to put in 5 duplexes on that property. And that is our, we giving it enough acreage also for playgrounds for children, water retention, things like that.
And I was looking at like the interchange as you go off onto St. George Boulevard, and then there's 1000 East that turns and goes down. There's retail there. I think there's that Sinclair across the street from Maverick. That's what's there in St. George. This one, I get what you guys were saying, hey, look at this whole place as a whole, but it's also a place that's got a lot of single family in here. And is that what you want, to keep some family, or is in the future, I point out that other interchange just because commercial is right next to it. And does the city want commercial here or not? And the applicant just wants to do 10 units, 5 duplexes, so.
And it is going to be, no matter what any of us do, a very, very busy highway. Just freeway coming and going right there.
And our access, it's all gonna come off of 400 North. So that, because you already got a nice main street, you can see it on the aerial right there. We don't wanna tear it up.
All right. Certainly, regardless of how the motion is this evening, I certainly invite you with guns blazing to come to city council and talk to them. Our job is to look at this and say, what do we think is the best idea? And they're the ones that get to decide on it. They can overrule us, underrule us, whatever it is. So whatever we do this evening, really, obviously, we're not the decision makers. We're going to make a recommendation to them what we think. So come on back. Don't literally bring your guns, though. I realize I'm not from the state, but now I realize everybody has a gun here. So, yeah. Commissioners, any other questions or comments on this particular item? Or I'll look for a motion.
It's Commissioner Anderson. I'll make a motion to deny G-22-04, request to amend the general plan land use map in the area approximately southeast corner of Main Street and 400, 400 North? From medium density residential to proposed medium high density residential. The reason for denial is that city council should look at this entire area and the impact from the interstate interchange, and look at reviewing and possibly amending the entire general plan of the area, and that we should do the general plan amendment as a whole rather than piecemeal.
Commissioner Tupou, I second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Anderson I have a second by Commissioner Tupou. Individual voting, Commissioner Shield,
Aye.
Tupou,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Bullock.
Aye.
I'm Hanson. I'm an aye as well. We are going to send that to City Council with a denial. Again, I fully invite you and hope and expect that you're going to come to City Council and discuss that with them. In fact, I forgot to recognize there are council members here in the chamber this evening, and they will have further knowledge of what their overall goal for this area is more than this meeting. So I appreciate you gentlemen coming. Vince, thank you. We'll go to item number 7A. This is a conditional use permit. It's a public hearing and consideration to approve a conditional use permit for an electric vehicle charging station, C-2209, located at 650 West Telegraph Street. The applicant is Clay Gallagher of Volta, and I'll turn the time over to staff for their report.
Thank you, Commissioners. The applicant is proposing to convert 3 standard parking stalls into 2 electrical vehicle charging stations, one of which will be a standard charging stall for a car, and the other one will be a van accessible charging stall. The proposed locations can be seen in the green colored area in the exhibit.
6 total or just 3? Because they're showing 6.
Let me pull that up real quick. So the blue is reserved ADA existing for Coles. And the legend is what those identify it as. I would defer to the applicant to confirm that, but in the legend, they identify those as existing ADA stalls, which is what it looks like. The proposed charging station equipment will be housed next to the designated stalls in the adjacent planting strip. Electrical conduits will be extended from the existing transformers to the charging stations. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve C-22-09, allowing the charging stations to be built as shown in the exhibits with the findings and conditions as outlined below. And I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thanks, Eldon. Commissioners, any questions for staff? Eldon, the only one I have is Commissioner Hanson. Has the city been approached, or should we expect the city to be approached about additional units like this around the city, or is this kind of unique? First one you heard of?
My opinion on it, I would imagine more will come in as electronic vehicles become more.
Well, Walmart did it. What was it? Year and a half ago, put in quite a few.
Mhm.
I think there's 8 of them over at the Walmart. If you've driven through the parking lot there, they're pretty noticeable. I think we'll see more come like this, that stores will just contract with providers, and they'll end up having 6 or 8 of them out in front of their stores, or in a commercial plaza. I think we'll see more of that as time goes and companies get more efficient at it. So,
All right.
Eldon, this is Commissioner Anderson. Is this like one of the free charging stations, or is this a pay charging station? That's my first question. Second one, does this only work with like certain brands of electric vehicles, or all brands, or do you know?
I do not know the specifics. I would just ask the applicant to clarify.
Thanks.
Hi, my name's Clay Gallagher with MD7. I'm a representative of Volta here today. Thank you all for being here to discuss the project. This charging station is actually good for all vehicles except for Tesla vehicles.
is that because he's not buying Twitter now, or just
They're charger specific to their vehicles.
And are they paid or free stations?
They're subsidized, so they're cheaper than other stations, but you do have to pay for them.
Credit card reader in them. Probably. So are there 3 or 6? Because the map that you've provided, with the color coding and stuff, I mean, how many chargers will be there?
It'll just be 2 DC fast charging stations. These are different than the bank charging stations that you'll see in the sense that they just charge your vehicles faster. You can get up to 180 miles on just 30 minutes of charging, whereas another charger is going to take like an hour and a half to get that much.
Clay, thanks. Make sure you stick around. We may have some more questions for you. At this time, I'm going to open this up to a public hearing here in the chamber. If anybody would like to speak to this item, please come forward. It does not look like there are any willing participants. I'll look for a motion, commissioners, to close the public hearing.
Commissioner Tupou, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
This Shield, I second.
I've got a first and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the public hearing is closed. Any additional questions for either Clay or the staff on this item? Clay, do you have plans, this is Commissioner Hanson, do you have plans for additional units, or is it just specific to this that, I know obviously tonight it's this, but are you approaching or being approached by others in the city?
No, not at the moment. It's just this cold location right now. And we have other plans in Utah, but nothing else within the city.
Okay, are you local? Where's Volta located?
Volta's headquarters is in the San Francisco Bay Area. MD7 has a headquarters in Dallas, and then I'm also located in San Diego.
What's the compatibility with Tesla at all, if there is any?
Tesla can charge on these, but not every vehicle can go up to a Tesla charger, so it's that sort of thing.
Okay.
But the Tesla charging stations are the next level. That's the level 4 charging station that charges even faster. But those charging stations only work for Teslas.
So if I have a Tesla and I have an adapter, I can use yours if I have the correct adapter, correct? It'll work.
Correct.
Okay. All right. As a Tesla owner, they do supply us with an adapter for other Tesla or other charging stations. I have no idea what they are because I've only used Tesla, but that would be interesting to know if it's compatible with the right adapter. That's why. Commissioners, any other questions? Or I'll look for a motion on this item.
This is Commissioner Bullock. I make that we approve C-22-09, allowing the charging stations to be built with the 4 findings and 5 conditions.
Shield, I second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Bullock. I've got a second by Commissioner Shield. Individual voting, Commissioner Shield.
Aye.
Tupou.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Bullock.
Aye.
I'm Hanson. I'm an aye as well. And this does not go to City Council. We approve this as a conditional use permit as a body, so it is approved. Clay, thanks for being on the phone. Appreciate it. Good luck.
All right. Thank you all.
We'll move to item number 7B. This is a continuation of a tabled public hearing for consideration to approve a conditional use permit for a motel next to Arctic Spas, C-2207, located at 1086 Red Cliff Drive. The applicant is Christian Staples. I'll turn the time over to staff.
Turn my microphone on. The applicant, this item, was tabled at the June 1st, 2022 Planning Commission meeting. The commissioners asked the applicant to work on the elevations of the project, specifically asking for more cohesive exterior finishes between the two businesses, the spa, retail store, and the proposed motel. The applicant has responded with a proposal to match the new motel addition area with the color scheme of the existing spa retail store, as you can see in your exhibits. So this is what they are bringing back to you. To keep it with those same kind of grays and then the red for the Arctic spa. Still keeping the slats, etc., like it was on the proposal, but it'll just change the exterior colors to be more cohesive with those grays and the red. I'll be glad to answer what questions I can, but it's, again, this was what everything hinged on, was just to finish having, those different colors on the previous one. Now they just want to keep with what's already existing out on the store. They've put quite a bit of money into the refinish of the face of that, so that's probably why they went with the direction they went. So,
All right, commissioners, any questions?
Yeah, it does look better.
Yeah, it's definitely needed attention. When I saw the red, I'm like, oh wow.
It's definitely a lot of red, but it does, it blends with the other building way
It
better.
beats it. Yeah, it beats what I saw last time.
To be fair, the Arctic Spa building looks about 100 times better in person than it does in this rendering.
So are you saying the hotel's gonna look a lot better?
100 times better.
100 times better.
Hopefully.
They did. They cleaned up that building quite well, to be honest, I thought. And I saw it today, and the red really got me. And I was like, oh wow, that hotel is really going to stand out, which is good. I'm not saying that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Commissioners, any other questions or concerns on this side? No. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll look for a motion on item 7B.
I think Corey ought to make the motion. Seems how he was the hero on this.
Since I killed it before. All right. It's Commissioner Anderson. I'll make a motion to approve C-22-07, request for conditional use permit for motel development located at 1086 West Red Cliffs Drive, with the 4 findings by staff and the 9 conditions as outlined by staff.
12.
We have 12? I only got 9 on mine. No, sorry. 12 conditions as outlined by staff.
Commissioner Tupou, I second that.
I've got a motion by Commissioner Anderson and a second by Commissioner Tupou. Individual voting, Commissioner Shield.
Aye.
Tupou.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Bullock.
Aye.
And I am Hanson. I'm an aye as well. Item number 7B is an approved conditional use permit for a motel. Christian, if you're here or listening, thank you for making those changes. We appreciate it. Item number 8 would be adjournment. Is there anything, commissioners, that needs to come before this body before we adjourn this meeting? I'll look for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
This shill, I'd make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
This is Bullock. I'll second.
I've got a first and second, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye. The meeting is adjourned. Staff, thanks again for everything that you've done for this meeting. Appreciate it. Melody, thank you.